Hello. Hello.
Hola Mario.
Sí, quedó precioso el apartamento, Johnny.
Ya, gracias.
Quedó más lindo que el tuyo. Ya,
¿Sí te parece?
ya.
Pero el mío ya es viejo.
No, viejo, ¿cómo? Vos tenés baños nuevos y eso. Quedó
Yeah,
divino.
okay, good. Ahora los escucho corriendo los chiquilines.
DAf at 6:30, and Navi is at 8 o'clock.
Ok.
Ay.
We are on Samech Ches,
Yep.
68. Bava Basra, 68. Means these are things that are not going to be sold along when you purchase something, the place where you gathered the wood. But if the stipulation, I'm going to sell you the bathhouse, including all of the various kalim and implements that are used with it, then kulan mechurin. We had this yesterday. Someone said to his friend, I'm selling you the olive press and all of its kalim. There were these stores on the outside of the Beis Abad that, besides the regular usage to sell the olive oil, they would also take sesame seeds and dry them up there before they would make oil out of them. And the seller and the buyer are having a dispute. Are these things included in the sale? Also committed Rav Yosef Armelei Tanina Imam Beis Hamerchatz v'chol tashmisha v'animoich harei kulan mechurin. So from that, it implies that these stores would be sold as well. Armelei Abaya v'hatani Rav Chia ein kulan mechurin. Rav Chia says it's not sold. Ella Dam Ravashi Chazina. We look. And you say, and these are its borders. I'm going to sell it to you, and these are the borders, and these stores are included in the borders that were delineated. Koni. Koni. Because they would not be considered part of the Beis Abad. Mishnah. There were people who owned a town. Like we have in America, back east, there was a guy who had a Levittown, I think it was called Levittown.
Yeah.
So it was a factory. It was a company, and they provided housing and medical care. So it's a privately owned city. He sells it. Amoicha Seir. Batim, Boiroi, Shichin, Ma'aretz. You sell everything, the houses, the water cisterns, Merchatzaos, bathhouses, shovchos, the birdhouses, Beis Abadin, the olive press, Beis Hashalchin, we'll see what that is. Avalos metaltalin, but movable items were not sold. But if you stipulate and you say, I'm selling you the city and everything inside of it, even if there were animals, avodim, which are normally, could be treated as metaltalin, they are sold. Center. We don't know what the center is yet. From this Mishnah, we would learn, because you included it as a metaltalin, that avodim are metaltalin, because the kemakarka dami, if an eved is considered like karka, he's not a lack of muscle. You wouldn't have it would have been sold along with the land. Elamai, sha'avdik metaltalin dami? What do you mean? Avodim are considered metaltalin? My afilu beim of avodim. What is the added chidush by saying even beim of avodim? If we understand that an eved is a metaltalin, why did you have to say that? Elamai is cholameimar. Shiny beim metaltal shenayim metaltal shalonayim. Metaltalin that can move are different than metaltalin that don't move. And afilu temet the avda kemekarke domi. And if you're going to say that avodim are like land, shiny bein mekarke shenai le mekarke shalonai. It's land that moves versus land that doesn't move is also different type of category. Rav Shimon Gamliel oimer moicher es ha'ir, mocher es ha'center, my center. Hacha targimu, bar machmanita, the watchman, the person who watches the city. Shimon ben Avtolos omer bagi, the various fields that surround the city. Mandam bar machmanita, the person who says that a center is the watchman, is that, so then therefore, Rav Shimon Gamliel, koshakin baki, that certainly if you acquire the watchman, you certainly acquire the fields. But mandamar bagi, aval bar machmanis alom is dabin. The one who says you acquire the fields, but he would say you would not acquire the watchman. It's not. Beis abadim ubeis hashalchin, an olive press and a beis hashalchin are sold with the city. Now, savrua, my shalchin, bagi, we're talking about fields that require irrigation beyond rainfall. T'chsiv, hanoisein motor apnei eretz, v'sholech maim apnei chutzos. Bishmal manda omar bar machvanita, I understand good. According to Mandomer that says that a center is the watchman, that's why Omer Tanakama Bagi Mizdavni, that the fields are sold, but Bar Machmanisa lo Mizdavni. That was the Resha. V'as Rav Shimon Gamliel lemeimar, afilu Bar Machmanisa inami Mizdavim. He added in the sefer that the center was, and the center here we are understanding to mean the watchman is also sold. Elmanda Omer Bagi. But the ones that hold that the meaning of the word center is fields. So I don't understand. Tanakami, Nami Achikama. The Tanakh already said that the fields are sold with it. So how are they different than Rav Shimon Gamliel? So the Gemara says, "Misafris my shalchin bagi." Who told you that shalchin means fields? Look, my shalchin, inyasa, gardens that are in the city, Central Park. Shenemar shlachayich pardes rimonim. Aval bagi lo mizdavni. But according to this shot, the fields would not be sold. That's the Tamakama. That you would sell the fields. Ikid Amri. Other people learn that Savrua Mai Shlachin Ginyasa. That the Beis HaShlachin meant the gardens. Bishop Bagi, according to the one that says center means fields. Omer Tanakama, Ginunuisa Mizdabin Bagi Lo Mizdabin, that only the parks and the gardens in the city are sold when you buy a city, but not the fields. What Rabbi Gamliel added at the end of the Mishnah was that, no, when you buy a city, you also buy the fields. Elamanda Omar, according to the one that says the center's Bar Machvanisa is the watchman. So Omer Tanakama Ginenusa. The way you're learning the Tanakama means you're buying the gardens. Umahadle Rav Gamliel Bar Machvanisa, then the Rabbi Gamliel throws in the watchman. What is that? Me Savris my Shalchin Ginenusa lo. My Shalchin Bagi. Don't learn that Shalchin means gardens. It means fields. And only those are sold with a city, according to Tanakama. But a watchman is not sold. But for us, Rabbi Gamliel, he's sold with it. Toshma, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, center einun mochu. When you sell a city, you don't sell the center. But on Kumus, and he was a person like a scribe, he's machur. My lav madukulumis gavra, if an ankalumis is a person, center nami gavra, must be a person with a watchman, and therefore it's not fields. Who says media area, hakadisa? A center could be a field and not a human being. Freik the Gemara can you say this? That according to Yehuda, the fields are not sold. Vaktani seifa. Aval, when you sell a city, you didn't sell lo eshireha, the lowest nosea. These are little villages. The lo churshin amuktzin law. Forests are not sold. Below Bibrin, chayav oifish b'shel dogim, not like areas where birds and fish and animals like a zoo. Now my shiria bizni, my bizni, amravava piski bagi, pieces of a field. There's a hefsek between the main fields. So piski bagi, hu shalom is davni. So these fragments of fields are not sold. Habagi atzor is davni. Comes out that the regular fields are sold. But epoch, or Yehuda center, is machur. We learned it's the opposite. According to Rabbi Yehuda, center is sold. And kumas eina machur. Umimatis amre et Rabbi Yehuda Rav Shimon Gamliel spherely. How can you say Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rav Shimon Gamliel? Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan spherely. Tiktani seifa. Avaloshi rev lob nosea. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, you don't sell those things. You do buy the villages. The Tanya Moicha Sa'ir, the Tanakama says, Loy Mochas Noisea. No proof from there. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda really covers a It could be Rabbi Yehuda holds like him that regular fields of the city are sold, but he argues that the villages are not sold. You don't sell cages with animals. Which are villages near the city. They're not sold. Some of the city was in the water, some was in dry land. Then these areas of fish and animals were sold. Loy kasha. It depends. Do they face the city? Then they're sold with the city. If they're facing outside the city, then they're not sold. This refers to these forests, which are facing the city, and yet we say you don't sell the forest. Ema hamuktzim emena, not hamuktzim law. Those that are far away and they don't open up into the city, those forests are not sold. Mishnah. You sell a field, you sell stones that are needed in the field. Various reeds, maybe you're gonna plant the grapes leaning on sticks, those would be sold. If you have wheat growing in the field, that's sold. A fixed wall made out of reeds, which is less than a base rova. The watchmen would have little huts. If they're not sealed with cement, they are sold. Vesacharuf, a young carob tree, she'ena morkav, that's not grafted. Vespsul sashikma, a young sycamore tree. Avaloy machar, loas avonim she'ena tzach. Let's say there are boulders there that have nothing to do with the field, and you don't buy them. Loas akinim shebekerem she'ena tzach. Reeds in the vineyard that are not needed for the vineyard. If they've already harvested the grain, you don't buy their harvested grain. However, if you stipulate that I'm selling you the field and everything inside of it, then it's also benkach or benkach. Even if he said base rova, you don't sell a wall of reeds that are in an area that you put seeds in the ground, larger than a base rova, because it's established as a reshus for itself. It's not sold. These watchman huts that are not sealed with pitch and tar, not the grafted carob tree, and not the early sycamore tree. These are choshuv. They have a name. No, Saran HaShikma means the adult sycamore tree. Those are defined on themselves and are not included when you sell a field. Okay. Stop here. Very good, everybody.
All right, good night.